Welcome to Out of Bounds, episode 12. It is Mike Lucio here at the Rocket Sports Cards Pod. I'll be joined shortly by Brandon, and we will talk about some sports and what's going on in the sporting world. Just a reminder that if you're watching right now, definitely give us the thumbs up, and maybe tell your friends about us. This is Out of Bounds, our weekly Monday night sports talk show, coming to you live here from Chatham. I'll bring Brandon in quick tonight. We're gonna move along pretty quick. So we do have four topics for tonight. The fourth one I'm a little bit iffy on. It's the NBA Superteams. I've been arguing with Brandon. I told him nobody gives a shit about NBA.
Which is true. Yeah. We were in a pinch tonight. Tonight we were busy. We were trying to.
We've been very busy getting ready for. Hello, Amanda. We've been very busy getting ready for the Funko Pop flame sale. If you can see over my shoulder here, we are ready to go on that front. That comes to you live pretty much immediately following Out of Bounds tonight. So if you're going to tune into that, that's going to be a lot of fun. But way early MVPs. I believe he came up with the topics tonight. I think he wants to know who we think will win the NFL MVPs.
Yeah.
Other than that, we're going to talk about best mascots. This is a lot of fun. This is pretty light-hearted conversation. Best mascots in any league, or you can pick one from each league. Awkward goodbyes. Another one that I was on the fence about. He came up with this one. He wants to talk about Ryan Smith and a couple of Justin Applicators, the one from today.
The one that came. Yeah.
So NBA Super Teams, I guess we'll touch on that a little bit, but then we'll get into the free for all. So without further ado, we're not gonna waste any time tonight because we do have the show coming up after this. We're gonna go right into way early MVPs. And go. So NFC, you're probably looking at Russell Wilson would be the front runner. Aaron Rodgers has had a couple setbacks in the last few weeks. Green Bay hasn't been throwing touchdowns like he was at the start of the year. But Russell Wilson is still throwing touchdowns like crazy.
For sure, he threw a ton of picks, though. A lot of giveaways last night against Buffalo.
I get that. So when good teams play other good teams, sometimes they get punched in the mouth. So we've seen this happen with. I think Tampa Bay is fool's gold. I don't think old Noodle Arm is going to get her done. I call him old Noodle Arm, and he's Mr. Noodle for a few reasons, and I don't want to get into that. I was talking to Giselle, but...
he got called out by Arians today for not having Mike Evans. I know you said that Mike Evans was a deep ball threat, and he said that they're not including Mike Evans in the play calling as much as they would like.
Because he can't throw the ball down the field. I called it.
So you can run other routes, so you don't have to. You don't always have to throw deep down the field.
No. He has routes that he runs, and those routes are deep threats. Okay. That's Mike Evans' job. He doesn't have a job anymore on that team. We've been talking about this from day one. I said Tom Brady's going to ruin that team.
What's the point of bringing in Antonio Brown then?
He's a possession receiver.
Okay.
So Antonio Brown's a possession receiver. So it's 3rd and 8. He's good for 10 yards, 12 yards. He's got some of the best hands in football ever. And he's got good footwork along the sideline.
But he can also go downfield, though.
He can, but I think at his age and what they brought him in for is definitely to be a possession receiver. And I think they're adding weapons because they shit the bed with Gronk for the most part. Evans is a non threat right now because of the downfield throwing. So it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like. I called it early in the season. I said Tom Brady won't be effective with that offense, or he's going to ruin that offense.
Well, they are 6-3 right now, so
I get that.
It's not that he's ruined the offense.
I believe they were down 31-0 at the half last night.
Well, they lost 31-3, so.
Yeah, and that's embarrassing. The Bears embarrassed them.
Yes.
And the Bears are a horrible team.
I saw that Nagy is reconsidering his offensive play calling right now. I'm not sure if you saw that.
Nagy's a loser.
He just announced after last night's sputtering offense. He said that they were looking at.
Did see a stat come across the screen yesterday saying that Mitch Trubisky was 3-0, and they pulled him as a starter, and Nick Foles is 2-4. With less yards per game than Mitch Trubisky was throwing for, and QB comparison across the board, Mitch Trubisky was a better QB. So if Mitch wasn't hurt right now, I think we'd be seeing Mitch back in Chicago, and I think people are finally realizing that Mitch wasn't the problem. It's coaching.
Right. So, okay, let's get back to the MVP. So Vegas has these 5 MVP candidates. These are the 5 best out of Vegas. Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, Aaron Rodgers, and Tom Brady.
Okay, so Tom Brady, not going to happen.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers, not going to happen. Who are we looking at?
Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray? No, I don't think so. Not yet. Maybe in a year or two. One glaring omission from that list, in my opinion, the fact that Kyler Murray, Tom Brady made the list over Josh Allen is a slap to the face to Josh Allen.
I was going to say Josh Allen should probably be one of the front runners for MVP based on what he did last night.
He's been doing it all year, though.
Yeah, he has been. But based on the fact that they finally played a team like a Seattle, that could have been a smash.
And how can you not maybe possibly even have Ben Roethlisberger on the list?
Yeah.
When your team is 8-0. He got hurt probably about halfway through the game last night, came back and played with a bad knee and led him to victory. Now, mind you, Dallas is a bad football team, but you still got to win those games, and Pittsburgh was another one of these things. Maybe Pittsburgh is fool's gold as well. Are they an 8-0 team? Probably not. Have they gotten a little bit of luck? Absolutely. There's a lot of teams that are 3-6 and they should be 500 or better. It's just the way the bounces go sometimes. Way early MVPs. Russell Wilson, obviously that's in the NFC. And I would have obviously Patrick Mahomes in the AFC because those are the two guys that sell tickets. That's all it comes down to, folks. Like who gives a shit what they do on the field? Obviously that matters, but
you got to justify the stats. You got to justify giving them the award because most
not really.
So the player's supposed to make the team better.
I get that, but what I'm saying though is if they had the exact same numbers at the end of the year, if say Patrick Mahomes had the exact same numbers at the end of the year as somebody less sexy, let's say Derek Carr for just something to do.
Sure.
If they had the same amount of touchdown passes, close QB rating, there's no way they're giving Derek Carr that award over Patrick Mahomes. Not a chance in hell. So that he's a brand. Patrick Mahomes is a brand, so he gets an extra little sprinkle of we love you dust when it comes to voting time. And Tom Brady also received that every year he was in New England. So it is what it is. Funny comment from my dad was actually on Sportsnet today, not on Sportsnet, but he was commenting on Sportsnet on Facebook.
Oh, nice.
And he said nobody gives a shit about Tom Brady anymore. He's not the sexy pick in the league. You know what I mean? So that's why the league's not protecting him anymore. That's why the league's not pushing him because he's kind of been pushed aside. He's still a story, but he's not in your. That's not in your face like he was 3 years ago in New England. Basically, are people sick of Tom Brady? Are people sick of the guy?
I don't think they're sick of him.
If Tom Brady
let's see what happens.
Never played another football game again, going back 5 years ago, I wouldn't have gave a shit.
Well, let's see what happens when he gets to the playoffs. Tampa Bay is going to make the playoffs, whether or not they make it as a wild card or whether or not they make it as...
Well, that's not a guarantee.
I think they'll make the playoffs. And if he doesn't make the playoffs, that's a completely different conversation. But if he does make the playoffs with Tampa...
Okay, you're saying you're guaranteeing them to make the playoffs, but if you look at it... Okay, I didn't want to bring this up, but my surprise team out of that division and the team to watch for right now is Carolina. So okay. Carolina kind of hung around. They were 3-3. I think they've lost a couple, but they just got McCaffrey back, and that's a game changer.
He's a very good running back, yeah.
He's the best running back in football.
He is, yes.
Okay, so when you add a weapon like that and you're still kind of hanging around, that might push you into the division conversation because New England, in my opinion, isn't a guarantee. Or sorry, New Orleans. New Orleans. New Orleans to me isn't a guarantee. Tampa Bay's got a lot of questions, and then you bring in Carolina.
I don't think Carolina's going to make it.
Just wait, man. I'm saying it right now that Carolina causes a lot of problems in that division before that season. Before the season's over.
The problem with Christian McCaffrey as a running back, yes, he is the best running back in the league, but the problem is that you can double team him and triple team him, and he can go for no yards. Like his offensive line.
But what I'm saying though is like
get him moving the ball.
I get that, but what I'm saying though is like Carolina was a 500 football team without him.
Yes, I know.
So you've got to adjust for that and say that
it changes the scheme that you're going to have going into a game against Carolina. But I think that one player I want to go back to think about like a LaDainian Tomlinson or like a Barry Sanders. Those guys were complete game changers. I don't think Christian McCaffrey is a game changer.
Absolutely is. So Christian McCaffrey is a perennial MVP candidate in the. You know what I mean? Like you can't say that he's not a game changer. He's a game changer at the same level that Russell Wilson is.
Is he going to break for?
He's the best player in football when he's on the field.
Is he going to break for 100 yards every game?
Of course he is. Even against a good defense, because if you can't do it through the backfield, they do it through play action.
I got to find out what his what does he have left in terms of who they're playing next. Give me a sec. I got to find out Carolina's stats.
All right, so we're arguing right now about who's going to win MVP. No, we're not arguing about that. It's either Russell Wilson. Well, it's Russell Wilson in the NFC probably, and Patrick Mahomes in the AFC.
Do you think Josh Allen gets any votes?
Yes, Josh Allen will get some votes. So will Ben Roethlisberger.
Do you think he'll be? Who do you think will be second?
Josh Allen. So I'm going to say that. Yeah, I'm pretty confident about that. Josh Allen will finish second in MVP voting.
I think he would too.
Who knows what happens, right? Mahomes, they didn't look that great yesterday.
Carolina plays Tampa Bay this Sunday.
That's right. So that goes a long way in deciding. And what's their record right now? Is it 4-5?
Who, Carolina's?
Yes.
They are. Hang on a second.
Did they get too far in the hole? That's the issue.
I don't know if they're 4-5. It says they're fourth in the NFC South.
Yeah, they're last place.
But I don't know what their. It doesn't show me their schedule. Or it doesn't show me their record. Hang on.
Just some technical difficulties here. We're trying to get some numbers up for you guys.
They are 3-6.
Okay, so they're pretty much behind the 8 ball right now.
Yeah.
They got to run the table a little bit, but I don't think Tampa Bay is going to win the division. So that brings in a whole nother ball game.
I think New Orleans will win.
New Orleans will win the division. That's
but
what. That's
I think Tampa still goes. I think Tampa
okay, so depending on where we land with the wild cards, okay, let's put it this way: It's 7 teams make the playoffs right now, possibly pushing it to 8. If it's 8 teams, okay, I'll give it to them. But if it's 7 teams, just listen to me. I think the NFC West, the entire division has a chance to make playoffs. The NFC North. Minnesota's coming on real strong.
Minnesota looks good now.
So Green Bay likely to win the division because Chicago was shitting the bed because of their coach.
Yeah. Detroit is terrible.
Detroit's terrible, so they're done. But you've got 3 teams there. You've got 3 to 4 teams in the West. You've got obviously nobody coming out of the East except for the division winner.
Yeah.
And then you have to assume maybe only one team comes out of that division.
Well, let's take a look and see what happens.
We'll see what happens in the next 2-3 weeks.
Tampa Bay's got a good defense against the run. I'm curious if they'll contain Christian McCaffrey. We'll take a look and see. Okay,
that might be a season flipper there. If Carolina comes out and has a statement game against Tampa now that McCaffrey's back, that might flip those 2 teams down the road.
I can't see,
because if they tie,
I can't see
it goes to a tiebreaker.
I can't see Brady crap in the bed 2 weeks in a row.
He looked horrible against the Bears. If he's
but that's
playing,
not 2 weeks in a row.
If he's playing, but what I'm saying though,
he's looked very good in the last.
If he's
weeks,
playing,
of last week or this past week.
Start the clock.
Okay.
If he's playing, Pro Bowl, or not, I wouldn't say Pro Bowl. If he's playing playoff teams, he's looked average, if not horrible, all year. Is that not a fair statement?
Sure. He looks mediocre.
Yes.
I'm not saying he is the MVP. That's not what I'm saying.
No, but we're talking. This show is going to go off the rails
I'm just thinking that he is going to end up. I think he's going to go to the playoffs with Tampa.
Come on, we're disrespecting the mascots now by taking their time. Best mascots in the league. We kind of touched on this last week about who do you guys like as mascots?
I think this came from Singles Night, right?
We were talking about Singles Night. Yeah, we were talking about Singles or on Singles Night about mascots. So there's some classics out there. The Philly Fanatic
is one of my favorites.
Mariner Moose.
You said you had a big story about Youppi, right? Or Uppy, or whatever his name was.
His name's Youppi.
Youppi, yeah.
So Youppi, the Montreal Expos famous mascot, was they actually. I will tell the story about this. Okay. The Montreal Expos obviously folded as a team, or they moved to Washington, but Youppi didn't have a home anymore. So the Montreal Canadiens actually went to the government and filled out the paperwork to adopt him. Like it was a big thing. Like they like it was as if he's a real person or a real human being. So they went and filled out the paperwork. Obviously, it was for PR and press and that. But it was a lot of fun. And now he's been adopted by the Montreal Canadiens. Another cool story about Youppi. Youppi is obviously my favorite mascot. If you haven't clued into that, every year for his birthday, they would have all the other mascots from like the 29 other Major League Baseball teams come in, and they'd usually give him like some elaborate gift. And he always had a what do they call those, 4x4 runner?
Oh, like a quad?
Like a quad runner, yeah. Yeah, so he always used to do this where he'd drive around the stadium before T-shirt guns.
Okay.
And he'd just throw stuff into the crowd or, like that kind of thing. But they gave him a brand new 4x4 one year, and he just lost it. And then he actually, in UP fashion, they brought out a ramp, and he jumped through a flaming fire hoop, I believe. And so it was all set up, but it was pretty cool, anyways. But anyways, Yuppie, obviously my favorite. He's a hockey mascot now, believe it or not. So I'll leave him out of the baseball discussion.
Okay.
But I do like. I'm not even going to say I like the Toronto Raptor. I like the baby Raptor.
I like the Toronto Raptor.
What I'm saying though is, if you've ever been to a Raptors game and got to see the commercial entertainment when they bring the mascots out and stuff like that, they have the regular size Raptor, and then they have the pint-sized baby Raptor. And the baby Raptor is by far the funniest shit I've ever seen at a live sporting event. He's like running around like they bounce, right? They're just there. And baby Raptor's pretty funny. If I'm going to pick a mascot in baseball, with Yuppie now being a hockey mascot, I have to go back. I would say the Philly Fanatic's probably one of the best.
Philly Fanatic probably the best.
A lot of people right now are probably saying for hockey they wouldn't pick Yuppie. A lot of people are probably siding with Gritty. A lot of people do love Gritty.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that. There's who was it that Vancouver had the unofficial? Who are the guys that wore the onesies? Those guys in the green leotards or whatever, unitards or whatever those are. We need to get some of those.
No, we're not going to get those. But so if you're watching, leave a comment. Tell us who your favorite mascots are. We didn't talk about. I don't know any mascots in football. Are there mascots in football? Like NFL teams, do they have mascots?
Pat the Patriot was one.
I don't think. The Bears do have the bear guy. Yeah, I'm a Bears fan. They do have a bear that wears the outfit or whatever.
I'm trying to think of the Lions because I've been to a bunch of Lions games. I don't ever.
There's a lion that runs around down on the field.
I always remember them with those flags. Those cheerleaders running with the big flags.
Yeah.
That's all I.
Oh, there's a lion for sure.
And then that guy who sings that ridiculous song.
Oh, the
forward down the field.
Yeah. Everybody's got a fight song or a touchdown song, a goal line or whatever they call it.
One of my favorite mascots comes from college football, and that's Sparty. Sparty from Michigan State.
All right, yeah, he's pretty cool.
We actually used our. So when I was at my previous school, we actually modeled our mascot after him. And we got one of the costumes, and we could dress up as one of it.
Cool.
It was the Black Sparty. Yeah, it was pretty neat.
I think the reason that this even came about, we were talking about Elmer the safety
elephant.
So for those of you, if you're watching and you don't live in Canada, maybe Elmer the safety elephant. Brandon being a teacher, Elmer the safety elephant used to come around to our schools and give us talks about general safety.
Yes.
Just stuff like that. And we got talking about Elmer the safety elephant on Thursday night, on singles night. And just some of the crazy stories about Elmer. Because I did walk in on Elmer being blown up. And it was some creepy old dude in a suit. So it kind of scared me. Where he was wearing like shit-stained tighty-whities. And they're like, hold on, Frank.
Hi, children.
Yeah. Hold on, Frank. We're almost done.
It's like that guy from... was it Family Guy? That really, really old guy that they...
Yeah. Have some popsicles. Yeah. You kids want some popsicles? Yeah, creepy Elmer the safety elephant. And Mitch is online, and Mitch sent me a video today of Elmer the safety elephant in... it looked like a Thanksgiving Day parade or a Christmas parade.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So he's got a video of Elmer the safety elephant. He was trying to find us some
I wonder
content.
if we can get Elmer the safety elephant trending.
On the show. Let's get Elmer on the show.
Get him trending.
I'm sure Frank, the old guy that had shitty stained underwear, probably dead by now. But we can see if we can find the suit somewhere.
Oh, I bet it's laying around probably at City Hall. Municipality's probably got it.
But he's not a Chatham Kent thing. Like he's an Ontario.
But I think you had to buy your. I think each municipality.
No, nobody bought an Elmer the
I
safety.
bet they did.
No way.
They had to. I bet they.
No. I bet you any money it was a guy that made like $120,000 a year to go around.
I can't imagine.
That's
one guy traveling all of Ontario for
that. That's money well spent by the Canadian government paying a guy to dress up as Elmer the safety elephant.
Yikes.
I believe it was Ontario. I don't think. If anybody out there is watching in another province, let us know if you guys have ever heard of Elmer the safety elephant.
He's probably not in Israel alone.
No. But I'm thinking maybe Quebec had like, Giuseppe the safety. What's French for elephant? L'otter. They had Giuseppe the otter.
Here's Elmer.ca. He's got his own website.
He's got a website.
It's English and French.
Okay, so maybe he did spend time in the Quebec school board.
I don't know. He's sponsored by the Canadian Safety Council.
All right, so he is nationwide Elmer the safety elephant.
That's why I can't imagine there's only one person that does.
It's him, man.
Elmer.
He hit like 5 or 6. He hit all the or what he would do is he would come in, and I'd have friends at other schools, and I'd be like, "Hey, you guys see Elmer today?" And he's like, "Yeah, he was there from 1 to 1:30." So he would literally drive around and hit one town at a time. And so he'd do one city in a day. I remember getting to school, like, you have to be at school at 8 a.m. today because Elmer the safety elephant's doing his presentation at 8:30. I'm like, no, school starts at 10 to 9. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not showing up early for this weird dude. And I think that's why I found him in the lunchroom. Because I'd come in and everybody was already in.
Yeah, in the gym.
Yeah. And the door was locked from the on the outside. I'm like, hey, can I come in? And whatever. And the dude's in there in his shit-stained underwear. But anyways,
I don't have any stories like that.
Funny stories about Elmer the safety elephant.
Yeah.
I hope Frank, shitty underwear Frank's doing well. I hope he's still kicking. He was probably like 60 at the time, so it's probably doubtful.
That's a long time ago.
He'd be like, he should have probably been wearing diapers at that time, so he's definitely wearing them now. Or he's dead.
Or he's dead.
This is why we have the viewer discretion is advised. Right. This is real talk, folks. Elmer the safety elephant is dead.
So you guys have about a minute. I don't know whoever's still online. What's favorite mascot? Any mascot stories that you guys might want to share with us before we jump into the next topic of awkward goodbyes?
I'm going to go off on awkward goodbyes. This annoys the shit out of me.
I don't really like the idea.
I am really fired up tonight.
I don't like the idea of athletes doing what Justin Applicator did. Like, I really don't like those.
He's begging for sympathy from the fans.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And that's did you read it? Because it sounds,
I don't even care. I don't even care.
Like the one of the last things
I didn't care about Justin Applicator 5 years ago when he was a half decent hockey player.
Justin Applicator's not that good.
Well, this coming from a Red Wings fan, like, he's not that good.
Justin Applicator was not that good. Giving him the A in a long-term deal was not a good decision.
Okay, so we're waiting on anybody to bring up we got Mitch saying the fanatic from Philly.
I think that's probably the most recognizable mascot.
For sure.
Pretty much, I think, anywhere.
The worst mascot in baseball is the guy for the Washington Nationals, the congressman or whatever he is. Have you ever seen that guy? He looks like Friar Tuck.
No, I haven't seen.
He's got like the bald head with the. That's right, the Montreal Canadian guy. That's Youppi. Youppi is one of the best mascots of all time for sure.
Okay, let's move on.
Moving on. I'm just totally fired up tonight.
All right, go ahead.
I'm calling bullshit. Brandon sends me this text saying, "Oh, did you see Justin Applicator? Brute's the Buckeye." Okay. Brandon says Justin Applicator took out an ad in the paper or something.
An ad in the paper in the Detroit Free Press.
Saying that all he ever wanted to do was be a Detroit Red Wing.
That was how he finished. All I've ever wanted in my life is to be a Detroit Red Wing.
Well, guess what, Sally? It's over.
Yeah, no kidding.
Basically, you're not good enough to be an NHL player anymore. I don't care if it was because of your contract. Justin, if you're watching, fuck off. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. Enough, man.
I don't like
Enough.
That stuff.
Okay? I don't apologize for the language. Fuck off. Seriously. Like, literally, enough. These athletes that think that we can come save them. You know what I mean? It's like people, your favorite show was canceled on TV. So the show puts it on Twitter. Oh, fight for us. Fight for us. Please bring us back. So we get a petition from 100,000 fans saying, oh, let's have one more season. And all they care about is this.
Yeah.
They want to come back and keep working because they suck. If they didn't suck and the writing didn't suck on television shows, they wouldn't be canceled.
Well, you know what? Applicator, coming back to hockey, he's made a ton of money. Like
he has.
He's made a ton of money that he probably did not deserve in the
For an
place.
average hockey player, the guy did pretty well for himself. And to come out and say along the lines like, all I ever wanted to do was be a Detroit Red Wing.
But
who cares, dude? There's lots of people that are broke living on the street that wanted to be Detroit Red Wings as kids. You know? Fuck off. That's the end of it.
All right, we got 8.5 minutes. I guess we'll just sit here and quiet. And
let's be honest here. I'm sick of these athletes using us, using the fans. Oh, come on, give Justin one more chance. Basically, Steve Yzerman runs that team. Steve Yzerman got on the phone and says, hey, we will pay you to take Justin Abdelkader. Yeah. We'll give you picks to take Justin Abdelkader off our hands. And basically, everybody that he talked to was like, click.
Yeah.
So guess what, Justin? Your career is over.
You know what? Someone I think will pick him up, but I don't know. But he's
the third liner.
He'll be on it, but he'll be on a league minimum.
The Maple Leafs will sign him.
That's right. Well, they gotta get someone to sign him.
He is younger than Spezza and Thornton, yeah.
But that got me thinking about some of the other really awkward goodbyes, and the one that always sticks in my head that I always remember, and we talked about on Out of Bounds one episode about ugly hockey players, and I was thinking Ryan Smith. Do you remember when Ryan Smith got traded from Edmonton to Colorado, and he did that whole sob story about how he was going to Colorado, he was going to win a cup, and then he's got that ridiculous cry face on, and he's like, I'm going to bring it back to Colorado, to Edmonton, because that's where my heart... And his tooth's missing, and you're like, guy, as if you couldn't get any uglier. Now you're balling on national TV.
By the way, nice hair, Ryan.
And when he left, he never mentioned Edmonton ever again. I don't ever remember him saying anything about, I would really love to finish my career in Edmonton. There was none of that. All of that, emotion at that time, out the door as soon as he got on the plane, I think. Completely gone. Stupid.
All for show.
I hate the...
All for show.
I don't
calls a press conference to cry in front of the world. Come on, man.
But look at,
I think someone actually has that. That's the... Come on, man. I think
that's Monday Night Sports. Monday Night Football.
Just ridiculous. Yeah. Come on, man.
Yeah. But look at what LeBron James did when he left Cleveland, and he had he was like, I'm taking my talents to South Beach.
Who cares?
These goodbyes that they have, that athletes do. You're right. Why do we care about that?
We shouldn't care about it.
Well, why should we care about it?
We shouldn't care about it. That's why I'm fired up tonight, because we care about some really stupid shit on this planet. Here's what I care about right now. They're going to kill 500,000 sharks so we can get a vaccine for COVID-19. I say, I don't want to...
Don't say it. I know what you're going to say. Don't say it. It's probably not a good idea.
If you guys are reading up the reports on COVID-19, they just announced that they would kill... This is the Canadian government.
Yes.
That's to cover the Canadian people. They would have to kill 500,000 sharks. Well, folks, I like sharks a hell of a lot more than I like people. And that's the damn truth about it. Sharks aren't shooting people in the street. They're eating people in the water, but they live there. Stay out of their home. That's what I'm saying. Stay out of their home.
What do they call that in the States? When
stand your ground.
Stand your ground, that's right.
Sharks have universal stand your ground rights, and that's just the way it is. We're going to kill 500,000 sharks because we're disgusting. Because we can't not eat bats or develop deadly diseases in laboratories to kill people. You know what I mean? We got to kill innocent sharks because we're more important. No, we're not.
But that's big news coming out today, right?
And the vaccine is reportedly... this is an awkward goodbye to the shark community. That's what I'm going with right now.
Okay.
This is an awkward goodbye from the sharks. Sharks are swimming around like... please don't kill me. It's not for the fins. They said it's something to do with the liver oil in a shark. So, scientists have been studying sharks for a long time about the fact that they couldn't understand why sharks weren't getting cancer. Every other animal on the planet suffers from cancer-like diseases or cancer itself, and sharks never found to have cancer when they're killed.
Right.
So they're thinking that they've got something in their system that fights it, or whatever. We don't know. They've been around for millions of years, long before we were anyways. But, I don't think innocent sharks should die so that we can go to the theater. Here's the thing. fair playing field. Jump in the water. If you can kill that shark with your bare hands, you can have whatever juices it's got to save you. Is that fair?
Sure.
What will they do with the rest of the sharks? I don't know. Make tuxedos out of them. I don't know. Who cares at this point, Mitch? Like, why does one species have to be eradicated on the planet? Because if we're doing it, 500,000 sharks, somebody else is going to have, like, we have like a tenth of the population of the United States.
Yes.
So they're going to have to kill 5 million sharks by my math? Where are all the sharks coming from?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. That's who knows?
Yeah, where are you going to find this many sharks this quick?
Yeah, I don't think it'll be. This will have to be over time. They'll have to farm these sharks, right?
Yeah, but what kind of life does that shark live then?
Well, no, I know. I don't think the shark actually can think like that. I don't think
sharks cannot. Some shark species cannot be kept in captivity.
Yes.
So, if it's a certain type of shark that they have to get this from, they might be shit out of luck. You can't farm great whites, I can tell you that right now. So, it's an interesting fact. But that's an awkward goodbye. We may be saying goodbye to the species of sharks on the planet.
All right. Awkward goodbyes that you guys might have. Anything that you've seen? Any athletes? Mike, you did mention, like, shows. Those things are pretty successful, though. When you're talking about shows and they take a petition out to get a show back for one final year,
here's a really good.
They do come back.
Yes, here's a really good example of it. You guys might not even remember if you're not old enough to remember. I used to watch the show Jericho with Skeet Ulrich.
Yeah.
It was like an apocalyptic type, like end of the world.
Yeah, dystopian is what they're called.
Yes. So it had a first season that was really good. It was actually a really good show. It was on CBS at the time. They canceled it without ending it. Like, we never found out what was going on. So the fans petitioned to get it back, and they said, okay, we'll give you 8 episodes, but you got to fast track it. Like, we can have an ending, but we got to fast track it. You guys might know Morgan from the Walking Dead. He was on that show as well.
Yeah, okay.
So what had happened was Jericho was actually receiving really good ratings for its time slot. The problem was, at its peak, it was running head-to-head with American Idol.
Oh, so it's going to get smashed.
So what do you expect, CBS? You're still getting like a 3.5 million share. I think that was the actual number. And obviously American Idol's doing 30, 40 million people watching a night. I can see it, Mitch. Like, a lot of people get connected to these shows, or athletes. It's kind of a dangerous thing, though, because with Justin Abelkader, so I know a lot of fans that are diehard Red Wing fans, or I know some of my friends, and he's going out and, like, begging, please don't let me go. So
I don't think that'll work.
No, it's not going to work. They're not going to. No, they're not going to.
From a business standpoint, it doesn't make sense.
But what's going to happen is, are these fans going to be depressed now?
But
is there an adverse effect to that, where, like, a fan would say, "Screw you, Detroit! You got rid of Justin. I don't want to cheer for you anymore."
No, I don't think that.
So there's an awkward goodbye. I just give a finger.
Yeah. I don't think that that's going to happen.
I'm going off tonight.
I don't think that
I'm going off tonight.
But should athletes have the opportunity to? I understand that, you take out the newspaper advertisement. The newspaper advertisement's making money. They have enough money that they can spend. These athletes do. What's the point of it? It doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. And like, here's one that's funny. I think it was Tracy McGrady. The DeMar DeRozan. So DeMar DeRozan's a Raptor for a long time. They let him go for Kawhi Leonard. Everybody knows that. And then DeMar's taken out an ad in the Toronto paper. Well, guess what, bro? They don't care because they just got the better player back.
Yeah.
Like, you're wasting our time. You're wasting everybody's time having to read that shit.
There are other ways that you could reach people, I suppose, like with social media, as opposed to taking advertisements out or billboards out. Thank you, Tom, in New England, when Tom Brady left.
Whatever.
Yeah. What's the point? Okay, so topic number 4. The reason I threw in topic number 4 was because there was a bunch of rumors coming out in the NBA. We'll take like 2 minutes. I don't even know why we had topics tonight, because every topic we've had,
we've gone,
completely shattered.
What kind of tea? Rubidoos?
It's the Rubidoos.
Rubidoos.
So there was rumor that James Harden leaving Houston.
I like to call him James Hard-On. Because we don't give a shit about basketball. Because we don't.
Leaving Houston. And I got to thinking about these super teams in the NBA where you're going to have, like, who's going to compete against the Lakers this year?
Who cares? I'll answer your question honestly. Another super team. So that's the only chance. The only chance somebody else has is that there's two super teams and they just fight it out.
But in a cap era, do you see a James Harden taking a pay cut to join a super team? This
is why I cannot take basketball seriously, because they do. Players like LeBron James, there's a couple other guys, Kevin Durant's one of them.
Yes.
They basically make so much money outside of basketball
that the money inside
of basketball is basically a joke to them. So they just move from team to team to win championships. Like, whoever's set up the best to win a championship, that's where they go. Unless you're LeBron James and you lose more than you win, because you're LeFraud James. So he's tried that on numerous occasions.
He's 4 for 10?
4 for 10. Yeah. So he's got to at least go one more. So he's got to go 2 more times to get over that 500 mark. He's got to go 5 for 6 or 5 and whatever.
5 for 11, 6 for 12.
That's right. So if LeBron James doesn't win the next 2 championships and then retires, he's actually a loser, folks.
Do you think LA will make it to the playoffs next year?
Well, yeah. With LeBron?
Of course, with LeBron and Anthony Davis.
Will they make the playoffs?
Well, no. I mean, will they make the finals?
It depends on what happens. Like, where you're talking about James Harden going to some other team.
Okay.
Like, what if Golden State is healthy, and then they've got the second overall pick, I believe.
Yeah.
So Golden State's going to get a huge boost this year.
There was talk about the LA Clippers actually kind of breaking things apart with Kawhi Leonard and.
So he's going to regret that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So Kawhi Leonard probably should have traded Toronto.
Where does he go?
Toronto.
You think
they'd take him back for sure.
Back to I don't think
for sure.
Toronto.
The fans would be like, "Oh yeah, he won us a championship." Like that's why it's a joke. Pistons all day.
I don't know. Okay. So you're right. It's just for the NBA. It comes down to
where do you want to play?
How can you convince your friends to come and join you? Your superstar friends to come join you on the team that you're playing.
That's right. So the Chicago Bulls in the 1990s, that's a real dynasty in my opinion, because whether they were drafted or traded, they didn't pick to go there. Management built that team.
Yeah.
The players weren't calling and saying, "Oh, I'm coming there to play with Michael Jordan," or Michael Jordan wasn't calling players saying, "Hey, Dennis, you want to come to Chicago to win a championship with us?" I don't think that happened. I think the team was built around Michael Jordan to win. So that doesn't happen anymore.
What's interesting about basketball that I find that you don't see in other sports is their development process. Like, how many players can you see being overly developed today? Like, you pull a Zion and a John Morant, and those guys are NBA game ready. They're not in a development league like the NHL, for instance.
I get it, yeah.
So these teams, you have your perennial superstars all the time, and you're poaching from these superstar teams just to make your team better. I'd be curious to know who the last best developed
It's not good for
was.
the league.
No, of course it's not.
It's not good for the league because you have teams like the Detroit Pistons that haven't been competitive or borderline, not championship worthy anyways, since the mid 2000s.
Right.
So you're going on 20 years almost
now.
now.
Won one championship.
That's right. So you're going on 20 years almost since that team had anything worth watching.
And that team wasn't even a superstar team.
No, that was just a good basketball team that won.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, if you do the math, that's right about the same time that these super teams started to form. They actually beat the Lakers, which was a super team with Kobe, Shaq, and all those guys. Obviously, that's another team that was handpicked. Kobe was actually drafted there. Kobe was drafted by Charlotte, traded there.
Yeah.
And then Shaq was brought in. A couple other guys were brought in to make them a super team. So, I don't know. Basketball is one of those things where you lose interest because if your team doesn't have a megastar,
Then
there's no use in why
watching.
even bother?
Yeah, there's no use in watching.
Why bother?
Yep.
It's
I get it.
it's always a 1-2 punch in the NBA.
That's why basketball is my least favorite of the big four, of the top 14.
If you notice any teams that are competitive or really good, they always have a 1-2 punch. The big three with Wade, James, and Bosch. It's tiring to say the least. That's why you watch the NBA. The NBA is the least likely sport to have upsets.
Yeah.
So going back into hockey and watching 1 versus 8 in the playoffs, sometimes you get an Edmonton beat Detroit. Sometimes Montreal would beat Boston as the 8.
But that happens more often than not in the NHL.
In the NHL, yes. Yeah. But it never, ever happens in the NBA. It's like a 2-3 game sweep and you're done. The teams don't even lose until you get to the conference final.
See, don't you think that the league would want there to be
parity.
More games? Yeah,
you want
league
parity.
Would want more games, right?
Of course you do.
But can the league actually step in and actually make any type of unilateral decision that would stop?
So it's salary cap circumvention. So they're cheating them. They're cheating to get underneath the cap. They're not cheating. They're just taking less. So. You're going to see this happen until they put a stop to it, but they're not going to put a stop to it because the NBA Players Association would never allow it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The players would never vote on it to say, hey, now they're trying to tell players that they have to take more money. There's no way that the owners and the players would come to that agreement, but it's just not going to happen.
Right.
Because if they said, okay, players have, if they just went to arbitration and they said players have to make their worth. So LeBron James is now a $40 million player per year. You get what I'm saying?
I understand. Yeah, you would have to have a hierarchy
on a pay
of
scale.
Your players. Yeah,
that's
you would
right.
Have to have a tiered system for your superstars.
That's right.
And it would almost be like.
So they do that in football with the franchise tag.
Yes.
So it works in some sports. It doesn't. It would not work in basketball.
Yep.
I do believe you can franchise in basketball too, can't you?
I haven't heard of it being done. Not recently, anyway.
I believe basketball has a soft cap as well,
They
luxury
do have a
tax.
soft cap, yeah.
Yeah. So even if LeBron wanted to get paid big money, that he could still get the big money. But this is getting to be ridiculous, where it's a 1-year deal here. They don't win in LA next year. Well, LeBron's going to go somewhere else.
But you know what? He can.
LeBron will play for one of the New York teams before his career's over.
He can dictate where he wants to go, though, right? And they'll pay him max dollars if they want him.
If he wants max
dollars.
LeBron James will play for the Brooklyn Nets before his career's over because he's going to play for Jay-Z, and that's just cross-branding.
I think he'll go back to Cleveland.
I don't think he's going to finish in Cleveland. That's a waste of time.
No, I don't
for
think
him.
he'll finish in Cleveland.
He left on a good note there with the championship. That's enough.
Okay.
He doesn't owe, he doesn't owe anybody anything, really. You know what I mean? So.
You think he'll retire right out of basketball, or do you think he'll be become a coach or become a
LeBron James is going to run for president of the United States, and he's going to win.
Which party?
Democratic. Because he lives in Hollywood.
And he's gonna win.
He's gonna win. LeBron James and The Rock will be the last two Democratic candidates standing, and it'll come down to who's going to vote for who. And I think whoever it is, LeBron James or The Rock will be a president of the United States eventually. That's how disgustingly sick human beings are.
Yeah, well, it's popularity, right? Popularity.
Exactly.
Popularity contest.
As long as your party stays in power, who cares who's running things?
Well, that's true, but that's all that power wants. Power wants to keep and maintain power.
That's right. So, but LeBron will not. The reason I say LeBron will get into politics is because he's been very vocal about trade, everything that was going on in China, all that kind of stuff.
He's not going to play for.
He's not going to play for Portland.
No, he's not going to play for Portland.
There's only 3 places LeBron James goes. He's in one of them right now. That's LA, either LA or the Clippers. He's going to play in that market.
Yeah.
He's going to possibly play in the New York market. The only other team, and I don't think it will happen because they're not ready, would be Chicago. So those are the 3 markets in the U.S. that have the most people, the most money. Those are the 3 markets that would generate interest from a guy like LeBron James.
How do you think he would be received in Chicago with Jordan, the whole Jordan thing?
That's another thing that he might go for. He might go just to shit on Jordan's legacy.
Just to say, huh.
Because then the argument's there, well, I won the last championship in Chicago.
Right. Because they haven't won since, right?
That's right. Interesting, right?
That is.
The free-for-all. I got a good topic for this. It hit Twitter today, and everybody's saying, if you guys watch football, I believe it's CBS, Tony Romo. So Tony Romo doing commentary, they're like, why is this guy not taking a coaching job? Why aren't people coming to him and asking him to be offensive coordinator?
His analysis is really good.
Yes,
Yeah,
he is by far the best in football. He knows the plays before they're going to happen. He's literally play calling the game. If you watch it, he's doing the same play calls as the coach. Whether or not the team executes those plays on the field,
different story.
He can call it before it happens, and I think he's a football mind. Like obviously, like quarterbacks are smart, but he's also seeing it from a bird's eye view. So he's got a bird's eye view of the action on the field. He's kind of looking around like, okay, this receiver's lining up against this corner. If you guys notice, every time that happens and they say, oh, they haven't gone to him in a while, and they circle him, and then boom, they go to him. And it's not magic that makes that happen. It's the fact that the quarterback playing on the field like a Drew Brees recognizes the matchup, and it's a mismatchup, basically.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm going to that guy because we can tear him apart.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So when they show you that on the telestrator and say, don't be surprised if you go to this guy, it's because that's what he would have done as a quarterback, because he can see it.
I think it's rampant cheating. They're just tuned in.
Yeah, they can hear the
rampant cheating. They're like, oh, Tony Romo said we got a mismatch.
They're New England the shit out of stuff. That's right. What they're doing. They know the plays before they come in. Maybe he's just read the script because everything's fixed anyways.
That's right.
Pretty interesting though. So there's a lot of people pushing for Tony Romo to get a coaching job in the NFL, and I'm going to tell you why he won't. Because why the hell would you want to be a coach and be scrutinized all day long by press and media when you're making a shit ton of money to sit in a booth and just talk about it?
Well, I've heard like college coaches who do not want to come to the NFL because they have a cushy job where they're making $4, $5, $6 million. If you're Jim Harbaugh, you're making $8 for no reason whatsoever, and then you are well, it's true.
Let's shit on Jim Harbaugh for a minute. Should he be fired in Michigan?
Oh, absolutely. Are they going to fire him? I doubt it.
Why wouldn't they fire him? It's performance-based results. Like, you have to win.
He's the Michigan man.
Who cares?
They're not going to. I don't think they'll fire him.
We're going to be talking in a little bit about
Schembechler. He's like
talk about awkward goodbyes. We're gonna have Jim Harbaugh. All I ever wanted to do was coach the Michigan Wolverines.
Wait. Who was it? Who was the Detroit Lions coach that played the song "You Are the Wind Beneath My Wings" or whatever it was? Who was that? Is that Rich Rod? Was that Rich Rodriguez?
I don't know. Who cares?
Josh Groban's "You Raise Me Up." That's what the song was.
Nice.
Yeah, just before he got fired.
Matt Patricia needs to be fired. So this is the problem. He went from a very good team in New England as the defensive coordinator. Matt Patricia is a defensive coordinator. He's not a head coach.
Yes.
He's probably one of the best defensive coordinators in the league when he has the talent to work with.
But if he took over the defense in Detroit, they should be better than what they are. They're not good. They are a terrible defense.
You can only work with what you have, folks.
Well, you know what though? But you should have a scheme at least that would be at least competitive. His schemes are all over the place.
He's desperate.
Well, I agree. Do you think he wants to be fired?
I don't think nobody wants to be fired.
Do you think that if he does
But actually, I will reiterate that there are coaches out there that do want to be fired because they're just sick of it. And you got to remember, folks, when you get fired in the NFL as a coach, you still collect that paycheck.
Yes.
So that's why you see all these coaches like Chucky. So Chucky got fired. He didn't go he could have got a job the next day coaching a lower tier team. Like he's a desirable coach, right? But he didn't go do that because he was still making killer money to sit at home, and then he got paid on the side to do you always see coaches go into the booth. So
or they become defensive coordinators or offensive coordinators.
You cannot do that. No, you can't do that.
Jim Schwartz was fired.
You cannot do that.
Not while he's collecting the paycheck.
That's right.
Yes.
But he can still collect that head coaching money sitting at home and get a job on television and get paid. You're double dipping at that point.
Yes.
That's why Mike Babcock was an analyst on TSN.
Because he was making money.
Because he was making money.
But he got bought out, I think. Did his contract was bought out?
But the deal was that he couldn't coach until this so many years in.
Right. No, I agree with you, Alex. Mike Patricia is terrible. The Lions are terrible.
We're
talking about Nagy.
So Matt Patricia's not the worst coach in the NFL. Matt Nagy is. Matt Nagy has all the tools to have a Super Bowl contender, and he can't take his head out of his ass. He cannot figure it out.
Well, I told you off the beginning of the show that he's looking at changing his offensive play calling. That's what he's looking at it now. It's week 9. It's week 9, dude. And you're just starting to look at your scheme and say, maybe this isn't working. That sounds like terrible coaching.
He's the worst coach in football. I watch every game, and you just sit there and you want to punch the television. And the defense has this bend don't break attitude.
Yes.
We'll give up a field goal. Well, that's okay if you could score.
Yeah, it's okay if you don't lose by that field goal. That's the thing.
Yes. It's great if you can go down the field and score a touchdown, but you can't. They were held pointless for 3 quarters yesterday. They didn't score until the fourth quarter. That's not an NFL team. No. You cannot win in the NFL without being able to score at least 28 points in a game, because you're going to go up against a team that can. Whether your defense is stellar or not, you cannot hold them down.
Well, your defense holds you in the game, but your offense wins the game.
That's right.
That's how it works. So, I don't know. You're right. Chicago does have good pieces. Maybe I don't know if Nagy would be the worst coach, but he's not one of them.
He's the worst coach.
Okay.
I would bet all my Star Wars action figures on it, except for Boba Fett, that Matt Nagy is voted the worst coach in the NFL by the end of the year. And there's been coaches that have been fired.
Do you think that he will be? Do you think he'll make the season?
No, he'll finish the season.
Finish the season,
but he will not be back.
All right.
If they start off 5-1 and miss the playoffs, you don't come back from that.
What is their record right now?
5-4. They've lost 3 in a row. And he's sitting there talking to the media saying, "Oh, the guys in the room just need one win to right the ship." No, man, you could have won all 4 of those games. You were a terrible play caller. They were in every single game. They weren't blown out in any of them.
Do you think Chicago makes the playoffs?
No. I hate to say that because they have all the talent to do it, but unless Mitch Trubisky comes back, because he is not the problem, folks. Unless Mitch comes back healthy and carries that team, basically what he has to do at that point is audible. Just say, "I'm not running that play, dude."
Yeah, we're going to do this.
We're going to do this.
I think Mitch Trubisky is too young to do that, though. I don't think he has the. I don't think he would do that. I don't think. I don't think
there was comparison. There was comparisons of Foles. Here, so I think I read the stat yesterday. The Bears had 3 first downs in the half, and one of them
makes for a tough win.
And one of them was on a fake punt.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it makes for a tough win. When you can't even get first downs, new sets of downs.
And Tennessee has one of the worst defenses in the league. They've given up more points than anybody in the league, I believe. How do you not get more than 3 first downs? What is going on here?
You're just not matching up well. That's what it is, right? You're not matching up well.
Nagy likes to do this thing where, they're going to stack the box. Let's run the ball up the middle. No, you run play action at that point. Yeah. You roll out and you hit your tight end for 14, 15 yards, like any other quarterback in the league would do.
Screen pass would work.
But that's on Foles, too, because he could audible that. You get what I'm saying? And there's a funny video, like everybody's talking about Nick Foles yesterday running the ball, because I can run faster than Nick Foles. I guarantee it.
Okay.
No doubt. I don't know what's wrong with that guy, if he's got weird legs or something, like one leg shorter than the other. I don't know what's going on there, but he can't run. They showed a video. You remember it just came out a few days ago of Biden trotting onto the Democratic to announce that they were leading or whatever, and he's like Joe Biden.
Like a strut? Okay.
79 years old or however old he is, right? They showed Nick Foles running, and he was slower than that. Like they compared Joe Biden's victory trot to Nick Foles running the ball for a first down, which he didn't get, by the way. But they're saying that's the difference, right? Mitch Trubisky can run the ball.
Yes, he's a double threat.
That's right. Yeah. He's not a double threat. He's not like a Kyler Murray or like a Lamar.
But it's something that you do.
But he's like a Josh Allen. He's like a Josh Allen. Like he could take off, and he's big. He's a big dude. Yeah. He could get that.
He's hard to take down too.
I wouldn't say that.
Josh Allen last night playing against Seattle, there were so many times where he could have gotten sacked, and he reminded me of Ben Roethlisberger.
Ben Roethlisberger. I've been saying that.
Just the way that he was able to.
And Ben Roethlisberger, like the guy, I don't want to mention his name, but Cam Newton, he used to play like that too when he was a real football player. Now he's just a stylist or something. I don't know what he does.
Fashionista.
Yeah. So anyways, tell us what you guys think about that. If you're watching and haven't done so yet, give us the thumbs up or give us the thumbs down. We don't care. I don't care. I'm fired up. Do you care?
Not really.
Not really. We don't care tonight.
Hanging out with you.
We enjoy hanging out. We enjoy your input on what's going on. We got a pretty big show coming up. You got the advertisement in the little corner there.
Yes, we do.
About a half hour's time, we're going to have our first ever Funko Pop claim sale. Any sports stuff? WWE, we'll say that's sports. I guess you could say it's sports. But anyways, that's coming up at about the 8:30 time slot. We're going to kind of sit back and relax for a few minutes.
We got to reset here.
We got to reset. I got to cool down, man. Like, I'm all jacked up tonight. I'm going to go off on this Funko Pop
I have
thing.
a question for you, Chicago Bears related. Let's say Chicago makes the playoffs, wins the first round.
Okay.
Do they keep Nagy?
Yes. Unfortunately.
Okay. So all it would take is making the playoffs and winning the first round. Your first round playoff match.
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay. I could see that because they're going to squeak in if they get in, right? I assume they're. Do you think they're going to win their division?
I think Minnesota's going to pass them in the division.
Okay.
Minnesota started off like 0-5, and they're literally like right behind them now.
Yeah,
they're 4-5 or 4-6.
Yeah. Well, Minnesota's on like a 4-game win streak, I think, right now.
Yes, and Minnesota has Dalvin Cook back now, and they're firing on all cylinders. Their defense is still horrible, but they can score.
Yeah. They put up lots of points. They do.
And Minnesota went in and punched Green Bay in the face. So Minnesota might actually win that division because Green Bay's not running away with it. I think they're 6-4.
6-3.
6-3.
Yeah.
So Minnesota's got one win against them already. Green Bay are frauds. I'm going to say that all the teams in that division are fraudulent. Their records don't speak to the actual play on the field. And Green Bay's got to play Chicago twice still. They got to play Minnesota one more time.
Yep.
If Chicago splits with them, because I think they could probably do that home and home, that opens the door for Green Bay.
Yeah. Someone has to come out of that division, though. So you think it's Minnesota?
At this point, the hottest team is Minnesota, and I could honestly see them running it.
Really?
I can honestly see them just running through everybody.
I think you and I both picked Minnesota to win the division.
We did.
Yeah.
We did pick Minnesota. No, sorry, I had the Bears.
Oh, did you?
I had Green Bay actually missing the playoffs because I thought Rodgers was going to shit the bed.
I think I had Minnesota winning the division, and I think I had Green Bay as my wild card selection.
I don't think they're playing Thanksgiving Day this year. I'd have to check on that. They usually play the Lions on Thanksgiving if they are.
They do.
Is it Thanksgiving this year? It might be actually because I think I was looking at going to that game, to be honest with you.
I could find out.
They play Monday night this week coming up, so Out of Bounds will have to end a little bit early because I'm going to go watch the game.
Fair enough.
But they got Minnesota, so there you go. I'll call it right now. Whoever wins that game will finish higher in the standings, and the Bears are up a couple games on Minnesota. So you got Minnesota, Chicago, very big Monday night game next week.
Oh no, it's different. They got Houston at Detroit, 12:30. Washington at Dallas. Baltimore at Pittsburgh at 8:20.
So the big one's the 8:20 game on Thanksgiving this year. So yeah, it's interesting. The Bears in Minnesota this week. Bears have a bye week after that, and then Green Bay. So it's all going to happen in the next 3 weeks for them. So.
All right. So what do you think their record will be after?
500.
Do you think they'll beat 500? Okay.
Well, they won't be 500 because it's an odd number. But I can probably see them being. Let's put it this way: if we come back out of the bye and they lose to Green Bay, Matt Nagy may be fired in season. They go 5-6. He might be done.
Okay.
He might be done.
All right.
Just at that point, you can't win the division now, anyways.
Yes. Yeah, you might as well just bring somebody in the interim and just run the table. And
you could run the table and finish a wild card. And I think the players would step up and say, like, look, guys, if we win the next 5 games, and go 10-6, we're going to get in the playoffs. But we did our job to get rid of that moron.
Okay. So you think he's completely lost the team?
Absolutely.
All right.
When Nick Foles, who's a horrible quarterback, comes out and says there's discrepancies in the play calling here, like something's not clicking. In his first press conference as starter of the Bears, and then has to go into the office and apologize to Nagy. He's like, you're going to hear about this like from the media, like Nick Foles is shitting on the coach basically. he went and got ahead of it by going to talk to him. But when your starting quarterback comes out and says that, you've lost the room.
Right.
And he was only a starter for a week, and he already said, like, something's not right here. So, but anyways.
Okay. 8 o'clock. Let's get
It's 8 o'clock. We're going to call it a night, guys. Thank you guys for tuning into Out of Bounds. Decent viewership for tonight. Kind of started off a little bit slow, but I want to thank you guys for watching as the night went on. I'm looking forward to Thanksgiving in the U.S. I love American Thanksgiving more than Canadian Thanksgiving because obviously the football. I'll be here at the shop. Last year I think we did a chili cook-off. Doubtful we're going to be able to do that this year because of COVID. But I always look forward to it because, well, here's the thing, like everything's screwed up. We used to go across to the States and buy our turkeys over there just prior to Thanksgiving because it'd be like 99 cents a pound.
Yeah.
And then bring them home and we'd have second Thanksgiving. Kind of like Frodo, his second breakfast.
Yeah.
But anyways, we would always celebrate because we do have American family like Alex, and they used to come over for Canadian Thanksgiving too. So
any excuse to get together, right? I think that's what we're going to need.
Well, now everybody...
That's what we're going to need, I think.
Now everybody hates each other, so...
Oh, well, that's true.
Yeah, I think
they're not going to hate us. Like Alex.
No. But I think American Thanksgiving this year is going to end in a ton of fights. 79 cents a pound. Alex, get me a turkey and mail it to me, man. Alex is sending me a ton of candy right now, sugar-free candy, so I'm pretty jacked about that. We'll open that live on the air, whatever show.
I don't think you can fit a turkey in a box.
Oh, yeah, I can fit anything in a box.
That's what she said.
Anyways, hopefully you guys stick around and watch the Funko Pop claim sale. There's some pretty serious stuff going to be showing off. Maybe you want to buy something. It's our first time doing this. We're going to see how it goes. If it's a complete flop, then whatever. We'll just keep doing Out of Bounds on Monday night.
Sure.
But hopefully we get the same type of crowd that we do for singles night. It's going to be a lot of fun. Get you in. Yes, we want Haribo gummy bears. We will do the shit test.
That's what I hear.
We're going to eat a pound of Haribos each, and whoever poops their pants loses.
We should do a race to see who can get them down the fastest, and then see who can hold it in the...
Imagine we're doing Out of Bounds, and I'm just like, and I throw up all over the screen.
Yeah, I don't want to produce the show anymore, if that's the case.
Little gummy bear, like, rolls down the screen. He's like, no!
That one's not even chewed.
Yeah. All right, guys, that's a lot of fun for tonight, but we will see you in like 25 minutes for the Funko Pop claim sale. Thumbs up if you haven't done so yet. If you're watching for the first time, definitely subscribe to the show or subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're always looking for new subscriptions. But anyways, have a lot of fun, guys, and see you guys next week or Thursday night, and whatever. Just see you when we'll see you when we see you.
Yeah, I'm expecting not to be able to teach the next day, so...
Have a good one, guys.
Yeah.